What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MLB Swing for the Fences show. I'm your host, Travis Mangone, back with JT Hayes. We got Titletown. I believe this is the last time I did a show was with the two of you, so glad to be back with you guys. We'll kick it off with you first, JT. I forget who that terrible catcher is that you asked. Yeah, you told some people to play to win a T-shirt. I think he didn't do too bad because I think some people were talking about him. So give me the scoop. What happened with him and how did he do?
Yeah, he didn't hit a home run, but he did outscore a 40% owned Sal Perez because he got a 0. And Grayson Griner is the name that you want to remember for the future. Grayson got hit by a pitch and came in to score. So on a night when a lot of catchers outside of, I think that was the Max Stassi night, really didn't do anything for anybody. Getting that 4 over Sal Perez certainly helps some people.
Yeah, that's what I figured happened. I figured he didn't hit a home run because the chat didn't go crazy. But I did see someone say, he helped me win some money. So I was like, okay, he probably limped his way there for you. So we'll have to see if we have another one of those calls from you today. That was fun. Titletown, we'll go over to you. How's everything going? NBA, it seemed like you had a pretty good day yesterday. I had a great day myself, so no complaints to start off the season. How's MLB treating you too as well?
Yeah, yesterday was great. MLB Judge in the 9th inning really came through for me. Took the chance on the Yankees, ended up paying off, so that was really nice. And then NBA was able to split with 380 of my best friends in the Mlb on FanDuel. Had a good day over there. Baseball's been hot. Another great slate for anyone new to baseball. Coors Field, it's going to be your first taste at it. Brings a whole new dimension to baseball, something you always got to think about. So excited for the slate. Basketball on. It should be a good Friday night.
Yep, should be a good one. I mean, if you look at this slate, like I said, you said it really well. Coors Field slate. So obviously there's the game theory aspect for tournaments. There's in cash games, people loading up on that. So that's definitely something people will be looking at. I did want to mention, yesterday with that Yankees news, when you brought up the Yankees, if you're subscribed to Run Pure Sports, there's a ton of craziness going on when that's happening, right? The weather was absolutely nuts. We had DMs going to our Twitter account, basically like, oh, what are you doing with the weather? And it's like, that's not one of the places we're going to, respond to those things. We're going to respond to those things. JT, what do you think the place we're going to respond to those things are at?
I think it's going to be in Discord, is it not? I mean, I'm usually in Discord right up until lock on the baseball channel. I know Zach was in there last night. So last night I actually had no other responsibilities other than tears and hang out in Discord. So it was a nice day.
Yeah, so I was in the Discord as well, and I kept, I hate being the guy, like, listen, I want to help you guys out as best as possible. I also don't want to add everyone on every single thing, notify people, but it was nuts, and I want to make sure you guys get my cash score and know what's going on, and I wasn't going to play the Yankees, and then I moved back to I am playing the Yankees. I mean, it was waffling back and forth, but I was trying to check out the radar, and ultimately I just looked at the radar myself. I said, I'm going to be my own weatherman here and figure this out, and ultimately just said, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to take the risk. Let's go for it. I'm under the impression some people are like, oh, it's easy. Like I saw someone say it's easy to cancel the games, with there being no fans. I'm the other way. I'm like, they're just going to stay there all night. Who cares? There's no fans to worry about. You don't have to worry about little Johnny falling asleep in the stands, and dad getting in trouble. Like, just don't have to worry about those little things. People drinking late after the game and driving home and doing something dumb. So you don't have to worry about that at all. So I'm in that camp. Get in the Discord chat, though. That's basically where I was getting to. You got to get in the Discord chat over at Run Pure Sports. And the reason why is so you can get all of our up-to-date things. How about you, Titletown? Sounded like you were in the Discord chat as well with the people.
Yeah, I was in the chat, usually hanging out there, NBA, MLB. Just hit me at MMA. Just tag me, Titletown 2121. I'm always there answering questions. Trout was put on paternity leave yesterday. He was in my single entry core, so tagged everyone, swapped to Mookie. Just there's always, with everything going on in the world and MLB and NBA, there's always going to be late news. There's late swaps, so there's always edges after. So you just got to be on top of it, and we'll be in Discord letting you guys know. We're always answering questions, so it's a great place to be.
Yeah, and we got the Griffin chat, and you know what he's saying? He said he had no idea there was overlay, and it was basically free money, and he cashed because the overlay was insane in one of the early baseball slates. So, Discord helped to make some money in that way. So there's tons of opportunity there, and I believe that's the same slate that Hoop ended up taking down. Like, I think he took down 50K in baseball yesterday, 10K on another one, and then NBA he absolutely crushed. So tons of winners going on. it was a great time yesterday. It seemed like we had we had members winning, we had our experts winning. It seemed like everyone was winning over at Run Pure Sports. But let's dive into this slate. Let's just kind of, get in and break it down because, this is definitely a bit of a unique slate. My personal opinion, I think there's one pitcher that stands above the rest, and then there's a bunch of other guys. But we'll go to you first, JT. Talk about at the top. We got guys like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Mike Clevenger, all these top-end arms. How are you approaching these guys on this slate?
Yeah, so Snell is an automatic cross-off with what Kevin Cash has been saying. I mean, if it were, again, like we've been saying all the first week, if it were the middle of the season, a matchup against the Orioles, yeah, I'd be interested. I'm not interested in him tonight. Darvish, I might have a little interest in that 10-5 for him. The weather in Wrigley, the wind is blowing in. It's not a night where you look and you say, all right, I expect a bunch of runs, but I don't know. He just, I don't love him. He doesn't have a great, K-pop tonight. I think Clevenger is probably the highest I'll go. I like him a little bit tonight, but in reality, I'm starting almost all of my lineups with Luis Castillo. They didn't expect him to pitch. I think Bauer was supposed to start, so on Draftkings, he's 8,000. The Tigers are striking out 33% of the time against right-handers. They just are a team that I expect Castillo to do well against at this price. And so I think right there is a pretty good starting point. If you start with him, no matter what you want to do, right now I have two non-Coors teams who are fairly priced up a little bit as a 4-4 stack, and I'm able to get Castillo with another mid-range pitcher. So there's McCullers at 9K, which without Trout in that lineup's a bit different. I like him a little bit. And then, at the lower range, there's guys that I'm just going to be taking shots on. I think Dallas Keuchel is a guy who I think a lot of people aren't going to look at. But the Royals, against everyone not named Matthew Boyd, are striking out 33% against left-handers. They have a BABIP of 407 so far against lefties, which is going to go down. Keuchel, I think, to me, is an intriguing spot tonight, and I don't think a lot of people are going to play him.
All right. Yeah, no, that's a route that I haven't looked at yet. But I'm a cash game guy, right? I'm the chalk donkey, JT. I'm looking to do that. I'm playing one lineup. I'm also in GPPs though, too. And I definitely am stacking up in GPPs for sure. Promise you that. Titletown, we'll head over to you at the top. Who are your top end arms that you are going to be playing?
Yeah. So as JT was talking about, I don't like the guys up top as much either. Right away, Castillo, 8K on DraftKings. That's just a lock, plug and play. Almost all of my lineups. FanDuel, they make you think about it a little more. Price them up at 10-1. I still think right now that is my leaning cash games. There's enough value bets, that I'm finding myself okay paying up because I do think he's the top arm and the safest. But I like Mania down there at 7.5 as well on FanDuel. That's just seems a little bit too cheap. Can get you more bats. But on DraftKings and FanDuel up top, as you mentioned, you can't play Blake Snell. Just cross him off. Yu Darvish would be my second favorite up top. I don't think Pittsburgh's too scary, but I still don't love paying that much for him. I'd rather get bats. So Darvish, Clevenger, Minor. I won't have as much of them because I want to start with Castillo and then find another mid-range pitcher. But besides, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Yu Darvish and then Minor.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. I think we do the tiers over at Run Pure Sports. I think my tier guy was Mike Minor there. And I don't mind Minor, but I'm not spending up at the top at pitcher. My highest pitcher is going to be in the mid tier. And JT, we'll kick it back to you. And you mentioned it before, right? You mentioned Trevor Bauer, but how he's not in there and Castillo's just going to be super high owned. How do you want to approach that in tournaments? So are we just eating the chalk and hitting the lock button on him if you're playing, 150 lineups, or if you're playing 20 lineups, right? Do you just go extremely overweight and play Luis Castillo in this spot, or do you play some game theory here?
I think in tournaments, with one pitcher, if it were two pitchers that you saw, all right, there's two pitchers that are going to be 50% on, yeah, that's something I'd look at and think about. Yesterday it actually bit me because I was looking at Bieber and I said, well, Berrios is in a decent spot to have a bounce back. And of course, Bieber put up another monster. So that didn't work out. But tonight with Castillo, I'm not going to worry about it. The matchup is for me, in my opinion, the matchup is too good. This is a picture on DraftKings, so let's just talk about this, right? Castillo should be 11K. He should be somewhere between 10 and 11K on DraftKings. You're getting a $2,500 to $3,000 discount, again, against a team that is striking out at a 33% rate. It's an almost all right-handed lineup tonight again. I think they've got a couple of lefties in there. So even if he underwhelms, I think his floor is 20. So Castillo, I'm probably going to lock in at about, in tournaments, in my 150 pool, maybe as high as 70%, which I normally don't do. But the other pitchers tonight, the pricing on many of these guys is, it to me looks it's just a little bit higher than I want to play. Manaea is out there in a matchup that on paper is a really good matchup, but I just, that 9.6 price I think is more than I want to pay for him. McCullers, like I said, McCullers would probably be the guy that I look at second in that range. He looked good in his first start. And the Angels lineup without Trout is just different. Even though they've got Rendon now and Ohtani, outside of those guys, Upton against the righty, it doesn't give me a lot of concern with McCullers.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about McCullers, JT, I watched the start number one, and I was sweating, man. It was just like strike, ball. I mean, every count it felt like. And, it seemed like if you looked at like the way his like pitches went, you're like, oh, he got through things like so easy when you looked at like the pitches per inning. But that's because he always got these double plays. Not to say he's not good at that, right? But it was definitely a frustrating. I was worried about his control a little bit. But I don't mind it because if he does, if he is in control, he's going to absolutely dominate. The upside that he has is immense. So I totally agree with you with that in tournaments. I think you're right about the Lance McCullers call. Let's go to you, Titletown. In the mid-tier, how are you approaching the pitcher?
Yeah, so for the mid-tier on DraftKings, I find myself usually right now going all the way down to like a 4K, a 5K player. But my favorite in the mid-range, I would say, is Newcomb. The Mets are a pretty scary offense, so I don't love the play, but 6.8K, he does have a little upside. I do think he can get some strikeouts in that lineup. Alonso strikes out a ton, some lefties in there. So he'd be my favorite at 6.8. Feels too expensive for cash games. I don't mind Walker at 5.2 against Oakland. The thing with Seattle is you don't expect to get the win, which is always important. But for 5.2K, I'm finding myself him and then in the lower range, Cobb and Bubic down there. I mean, it's definitely ugly. I'm leading Cobb. Tampa Bay, again, not a team I always like picking on, but you can get any Coors bats, and I don't like pitching enough besides Castillo where I want to spend up and take the risk. So I'm finding myself landing in the Cobb, Walker, Bubic range down there. With Webb as well. I forgot to mention Webb against Texas, but I also like him at 6.1K.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, if you look at the slate, is there a pitcher you love? That's the thing. So that's why I don't mind the idea, like you're saying, of punting all the way down to one of these pitchers. I think that's a great route to go. JT, I'll flip it back to you. How are you approaching these cheap pitchers? Because I think a lot of them are in play on this slate for the reasons I just said before. How about you?
Yeah, I think there's an interesting decision or maybe not an interesting decision, but a decision nonetheless at 4K because you've got two pitchers there. And Bubic for the Royals, right? I mean, look, let's just put this in perspective. He's coming from high A ball to the major leagues against one of the more talented offenses in the game. This is like putting a third grader in high school and saying, let's see what happens. I mean, that's the way I feel with Bubic tonight. He got about an inning against this White Sox team in spring training. He got hit around. The White Sox are my favorite team tonight, so I'm not going to have Bubic in my player pool. Cobb, on the other hand, is not a pitcher that I roster often, but at $4,000, it's another, and I think it's another example where they didn't expect him to be starting. It was Tommy Malone, and then it was announced that, no, they're going to go with Cobb tonight. So Cobb at 4K, I don't expect much out of him, but if you get 10 or 12 points, and, then you can pair him with Castillo. If you wanted to go higher and take a shot on Clevenger or McCullers, you could do that. I probably will have, like I said, about 70% Castillo. Then you're really talking about, all right, which teams do I want to play? Because they all come into play. I think that just makes sense. So I'm going to have Cobb. I'm not going to have any Bubik. I'm going to attack Bubik pretty hard tonight.
Okay, yeah, so I'm on the other side, JT. I'm playing Bubik, but not because I like him, right? And I got someone in the chat saying, like, why are we playing these plays? Well, there's a reason we're playing these cheap guys. The reason we're playing these cheap guys is, one, there's bats we want to spend on this slate that we'll obviously get to once we talk about the stacks and the batters. And two, there aren't great pitchers on this slate to love in good spots. I mean, yes, there's Luis Castillo, and there's some other guys too, but I personally just don't like their upside. It sounds like we're kind of in agreement. We think there's some guys that are good, but we also want the bats too. I think that's part of the equation as well. And I'll just tell you why I'm going to look to probably play Bubik. The reason why is I look at this White Sox lineup, and man, the strikeouts in this White Sox lineup, they're there. I totally get it. The White Sox, they have a ton of power, but they can also swing and miss with the best of them. If you look at this team, and this lineup, you got Moncada, who strikes out a ton, Jimenez, Rober, you got McCann. I mean, just all these guys, they strike out so much. Ingles. So I'm definitely attacking this White Sox offense in cash games right now. And again, I'm not attacking them because I think this dude is an ace and he's just the next coming. I'm attacking because I see some strikeouts and I want bats, which we'll obviously get to once we get to that. Titletown, let me just go back to you. Any final thoughts at pitcher that you haven't mentioned that you want to discuss? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, just piggybacking off of you, because I saw that in the chat as well and I responded. It's not the fact that we love the pitchers at the 4K range, but we're just not in love with anyone, or at least speaking for myself, and it sounds like you guys are the same. We're not in love with a 10K pitcher that might only get us 10, the same that Cobb could get us, or Bubik. And if that happens, you're not allowed to play Coors bats or other bats we love. So it just seems that the right route, besides Castillo, there just isn't safety like with a Cole or someone else. So yeah, pretty much what you said. I'm leaning Cobb more than Bubik right now because I do like the White Sox offense too, and they're cheap on DraftKings and easy to get. So I'm leaning Cobb as well. I think Walker, if you have the 1,200, I don't know if he's worth 1,200 more. So I'm still going to lean Cobb. But I think Walker and Webb I would definitely throw in my tournament mix to pair with Castillo. Yeah,
let me just add one more thing about Bubik that I think is an important note. The Royals are starting this kid. They are fully in development mode. So I don't look at this as a situation where you're looking at, well, my floor is, -2, right? Your floor is -15 because they can leave him in there for 2-3 innings and let him get beat up a bit, right? I don't know that that's going to happen, but that's why I lean Cobb over Bubik, because clearly the talk out of Kansas City is they're going to develop these young pitchers. It's why you saw Singer come up and he pitched pretty well, even in his second start last night. The jump from single A or high A to where he's going now and how much of a leash he may have is just that downside. I'm off him. I get your point, but I think between him or Cobb, I'm just going to go with Cobb.
Listen, so I totally get it, JT, but I'll say this, what did I do yesterday? I sacked up and I played the Yankees and it worked out. And I'm going to do it again today. I'm going to hold on for dear life.
So brave.
I'm going to grab it and I'm going to walk into that game. And I'm going to say, come at me, White Sox. I'm taking you out. That's what I'm doing. Because again, I don't feel great about Alex Cobb. I know you don't either, but man, I think both have a terrible upside in general, or not upside, terrible downside. So we're going to sack up and we're just going to do that. We are going to pray. At least that's what I'm going to do. Titletown, let's go back to you. Give me your top 3 arms on this slate. Who would they be?
So Castillo for sure. And then for the price, I'm going to say Cobb too, because I think that's where you should be. And then for tournaments, I like Yu Darvish. I would pair some Castillo, Yu Darvish with lower bats. I think he's not going to be very high owned. I like his upside today.
Nope, I think that's great. JT, how about you? Give me your top 3 arms.
Yeah, it's clearly Castillo. Is Cobb in the top 3? He probably should be at that price. I think you're going to see a lot of Cobb and Castillo. I think you probably see a lot of Cobb with Darvish, and you might even see some with Clevenger, right? I'm going to side with Clevenger. I think, obviously, for me, the difference in the quality of pitching that Cleveland has with Bieber last night and Clevenger tonight is much different than what they saw, really outside of Lucas Giolito with Chicago. And they've got a 28% strikeout rate against righties. Clevenger has a strikeout rate in the 30s. I think, at 10K, Francona is one of the few managers on this slate, few managers so far early in the season, that I can guarantee he's going to give a guy a 7th or the 8th inning if he's doing okay. David Ross is too with Hugh Darvish. So, for me, it's just, do I want to pay 10 or 10.5? And I'll have some Darvish. I'll probably have a little more Clevenger. That's just the difference for me is the $500.
All right. Real quick before we go, we got one question from Steve Anthony, and he's asking, and maybe one of you guys mentioned and I missed it, but I don't think we talked about him enough, or maybe not enough at all. Logan Webb, is anyone interested in him in this spot? Any takers?
I mentioned a little bit of Logan Webb for 6-1. I would have him in some of my tournament lineups against Texas. Texas is one of the compared to the other pitchers we're targeting hitting teams against. Texas isn't great, so I'm fine picking on them a little bit. The leash is a little scary. JT, I'm going to ask you what you think. If you think he can get 6 if he's throwing well, or if you think he's going to get pulled out after 4 or 5. So could you answer that before I make a final decision?
Yeah. And two things. One, the only reason why we didn't mention him or talk about him anywhere is because I think we all found out, second week of the season, but oh no, the Giants don't know who's starting until, 2 hours before game time. I'm not going to guess with Gabe Kapler. He's the worst manager in baseball. This will probably be his only season there. Again, we did it with the Shark, right? Great price. Shark got hit a little bit. He got pulled. Cueto got pulled after 4 innings. I don't know. Is this Webb? Webb came in relief last week, right? So this is his first start. I
think so, yeah.
Yeah. So with, I know I'm in the minority liking Keuchel a little bit, but with Cobb out there, I'm not going to play, guessing games when Gabe Kapler's the manager.
Listen,
yeah, that's a fair point. So I'd have a little bit. Go ahead, Mangone.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, to the Gabe Kapler point, Mr. Dave Roberts, he's in the conversation as well. The fact that he hasn't won a World Series yet with that team is a complete disaster. I'm sure Ryan's in the back, angry about it too. But yeah,
well,
Dave
Roberts. Kapler's a Roberts disciple, right? And he's one of these you see, like I think I said on one of the shows earlier this week, 4th, 5th inning, he's like, and he, with the DH now, you thought you would see less of this. Nope. Switching guys out. I like to put a lefty in. I'm going to take, Cueto out to get a splits matchup in the 5th inning. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and then it hurts your bullpen, and it hurts you long term, and it just kills you for games after game. So that's basically it. But let's move on. Let's talk about the hitters today, because there's a lot of good hitting spots to talk about. We got first up, we got the Red Sox, we got the Yankees. We got a nice little 10.5 total here. I'll kick it off with you first, Titletown. Are the Yankees going to be one of your primary stacks?
Yeah, so I definitely like the Yankees a lot. The thing is with Coors Field for cash games, I usually prioritize Coors unless it's just a blow-up spot. So I don't think I'm going to go back to the Yankees in cash as much. Hicks at 2,900 is a good price though. So if I do one off, it's probably going to be him. But in tournaments, I love going back to the Yankees because Coors is going to take ownership away. They're more affordable on FanDuel as well. The only person in the 4K range is Judge. Stanton's even 3.9. So FanDuel, they're easier to get. I like them on Draftkings as well, though. They seem to be priced up a little more, though, and I don't think they're going to be too popular. But definitely going back to the well to them, just going to prioritize Coors and cash games. And I don't love the Red Sox.
Yep, agree with you that in cash with you on that in cash games. JT, how about you? I mean, Yankees. Big T talked about it on the show yesterday. He basically said, they're a team you should probably be stacking every single day. So is today a day you're going to stack them up in turn?
Yeah, they're not my top team just based on price, but they're in the top 4 or 5 stacks that I'm going to have. Again, Ryan Weber, I don't know how long he's going to go. He's not particularly worrisome, and then you get to that bullpen that again isn't very good. Barnes is one of their best guys out of the bullpen. He pitched yesterday, so he's not going to be pitching today. The lineup up and down is loaded with power. And from LeMahieu at the top all the way through. So yeah, they're definitely on my list today.
Yeah, and for good reason. They're the Yankees. Definitely have to, be playing them. Anyone have interest in the Red Sox? It sounds like no one really wants to attack Montgomery. Anyone?
On such a big slate, I'm not gonna play every team. So Red Sox won't be a team I touch.
Yep. All right, we'll move on to the next one. And let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds, the Detroit Tigers. We got an 8.5 total here. And hey, we've seen Detroit, have some good hitting spots lately. Let's go over to you, Titletown. Are the Reds or the Tigers a stack that you're going to look at?
Yeah, I like the Reds a little bit for tournaments as well. They aren't priced crazy against a bad righty in Turnbull. So I'm going to have some. I like the Moose, Castellanos, Winker. Those are my three favorites. Add Suarez in there if you want to go the 4-man stack. But I like Winker a lot for batting 6, and I don't think he's going to be owned at all with Coors and the Yankees and stuff. I wouldn't be worried about ownership. So I do have some interest in the Reds. They're a very good lineup, so I'm going to want to stack them up and play them a lot. And they're not going to get the ownership that they should. So give me some of the Reds. I like Shogo up top, at and lead off too. Just a good lineup. Not interested in the Tigers though against our guy Castillo.
Yeah, listen, one guy I love, I don't know if you mentioned, was Shogo. I think Shogo's an amazing play.
I mentioned him at the end. Yeah, bat and lead off. He's just going to be more chalky out of all of them in tournaments. You can get different leaving him out of a Cincy stack, but I don't think you need to worry about that with their ownership. So I mentioned that at the end. I like that call.
Yeah, and if you want to do that, who you can switch him out for? Big T's boy, free money for Freddie Galvis. So you can always go that route if you want. He loves him some free money Friday. Now, I do too. I definitely play him enough when I play some red stacks. So I thought that's interesting. We'll go over to you, JT. Any interest in this game, even with your boy not in the game, your boy Gardner? He is not in the lineup, but any interest in this one?
Yeah, look, without Grayson, I'm just going to cross the Tigers off. I mean, if they're not going to play him, I'm going to hold a grudge. But no, I've got the Tigers I'm legit crossing off tonight. There's a 12-game slate. There's so many great opportunities on this slate. I don't think Detroit's one of them, obviously. I'm going to have 70% or so Castillo. On the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to limit my catching pool tonight. I have said, I'll play these catches in my stacks. There's only 4 or 5 catches I'm interested in. Last night, it worked out well for me. I like Vasquez and I like Pedro Severino, and between them, we got 3 home runs. So in this game, though, is on the red side is one of those catches. Even though he's batting 9th, 2-4 on Draftkings for Tucker Barnhart. I like that quite a bit. He's more talented than the number 9 hole, but that tells you a little bit about this Reds offense. I like this offense a lot tonight. Turnbull had a good game against them. They get to see him twice in a week, and I like going back to that. And I think they learned a little something. And Shogo up top. Moustakas at 3.6 is it's almost a stupid price for him in the 4 hole. So this is a team that, yes, I'm going to – and if you pair these guys with, one of the more expensive stacks that we're going to talk about later, or the Yankees, you could legit get to mid-range pitchers, or you could even – with this team – you could even go Castillo and one of Clev or Darvish, especially if you've got Tucker and Shogo in that stack.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And that's a route that I've looked at too. I've definitely looked at on DK going some red stacks and maybe going up a little more at my pitcher. I have looked at that as a route. I don't think I'm going to go that way, but definitely something I'll update in my core plays if I end up deciding to do that. Because again, I think the Reds are a really good stack today. Definitely one that I'm going to be looking strongly at. Let's head on over to the next game. We got the New York Mets. We got the Atlanta Braves. It's a 10.5 total here. And man, I don't want to pick on Sean Newcomb as much. I think you can take some bats here and there. Some of the righties, the Alonsos, the JD Davises. But I think these Braves, they've grown on me throughout the day. I think they're the best stack. We're not the best stack, but one of the better stacks on the slate. How about you, Titletown?
You just took it right out of my mouth. I think the Braves are the best tournament stack on the slate. On DraftKings, they're priced up too, so they aren't going to be nearly as chalky as they should be. Acuna at 5.5, no one's going to want to play him. And yes, he's been cold, but today's the day to go back, I think. Monster game incoming, I think. I love picking on Porcello. He's not a good pitcher. Freddie Freeman, of course. Ozuna. Swanson, Adams. I mean, you name it. Austin Riley in the 7-hole I like. I don't think they're going to get a lot of ownership, and I really like them to score a lot of runs today. So they're one of my favorite tournament stacks for their price. Like them on FanDuel as well. They're a little more affordable. And yeah, I don't like picking on Newcomb as much either. So I'm not going to have as much Mets. They have a pretty good implied run total, but with so many games, I'm not going to play everyone. So I'm not going to be on the Mets as much.
Yeah, I like another free money Freddie Freeman. He's the man too. I always love playing him. He's a great hitter. JT,
Yep.
How about you? What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, and maybe it's the benefit of being here in Atlanta. I'm not as high on Newcomb. This is a guy who consistently struggles with control, and he's been so inconsistent. He got bounced to the bullpen last year. For most of last year, he started against the Mets last week and was inconsistent, walks and control issues. The Mets, they're not in my top 3 or 4, but I just, for pricing purposes only, and I haven't seen their lineup yet, I'm kind of intrigued a little bit more by the Mets. I do like Freddie tonight. Obviously, the left-handers in that lineup. That's where, lately Porcello's had trouble with everybody, but left-handers in particular, I think Freddie's in a really good spot. If you wanted to get different, you could play Matt Adams, even who's been hot to start the year. But I just, even with the slate, I just am not going to go near Newcomb tonight.
All righty then, let's head on over and go to the next one. We got Blake Snell, we got Alex Cobb, and man, this Rays team, I think there's some good one-offs. I think specifically on FanDuel, G-Man Choi, I think he's a great guy that you can end up going to. And overall, Titletown, I feel like you might have a little bit of interest in the Rays. What's your thoughts on that team and the Orioles?
Yeah, so I mentioned how I had some interest in Cobb on Draftkings before, but that's just due to a price play. I do like the Rays a little bit as well, especially on FanDuel, as you touched on. They are way too cheap, and you need cheap bats to fit in other places you want if you're going up to Castillo, and you want Coors. So, yeah, G-Man Choi leading off for 2,600 is definitely too cheap. You got Sogo batting 4th. He's only 2,800. You got Damas batting 3rd, 2,500. Just a lot of value that the Rays offer against Cobb, who's not someone that we're scared to pick or scared to target. So on FanDuel, I'm definitely going to have some of the Rays if they fit. I'm not going to go out of my way to jam them in, but they're good salary relief. Now, DraftKings are priced up a little more where I don't have as much interest. They're not one of my favorite stacks to pay a premium price, so I'm not going to target them as much over there. Orioles are interesting, but they're not a team I'm going to look to on this slate. I don't think they're going to score enough to warrant playing.
All right. Listen, I wanted to mention we're at 147 people, and we only got 32 likes, guys. We say this a lot on every show. Come on, we gotta pump up the likes. We'll give away some swag. I'm gonna see how many likes come through, and then I'll make a decision. After this next game or after we talk about this next spot. Here with JT, but put some likes in there and then I'll make a decision on what we're going to go do, and put them in now because if we get more likes now, maybe I'll keep the number a little lower. Maybe it'll work in your favor if you hit the likes now, but we'll go to you, JT. How are you handling this Orioles and Rays game?
Lack of likes is pretty hurtful right now, so let's get that up. But in this game, I don't have any interest in the Orioles tonight. They're not in my top group of stacks. They're probably a team that I'm not going to use. I might not use anybody from that team other than Cobb. Like I said, we talked about Cobb. On the Tampa Bay side, you can only go so many spots on DraftKings, right? Unfortunately, we've got a cap of lineups that we can put in there, and they just fall a little bit lower for me tonight, even with that bad bullpen. I think Cobb can do enough to limit them that the other teams that I'm playing, I think, are going to score a little bit more.
All righty then. Let's look now. Let's give it a little check. What are we thinking? We got 49 likes right now. What are we thinking, JT? What do we want to make it? What line do you want to set here for them to get to? We got 140 people watching. We got 49 likes. What line do you want to set?
I say 89.
All right, 89 is the number. So we need 39 more likes, guys, and then that's it. And listen, you have 25 minutes to do it. I mean, that's like a minute. It shouldn't be too difficult. Definitely get in and do that. If you got to get on that burner account, get on that burner account. And the way you get picked, let's say we do get the 89 likes. The way you get picked is you just type something in the chat. And at some point in the show, we're just going to scroll and just kind of pick a random person. So that's how we will do it. And then all you have to do is DM, our Twitter account, and they'll hook you up. We'll put you on the list. And we already got Steve Anthony in chat. He said the shirt is awesome. Have you guys gotten the gear yet? I haven't looked. I've been too busy. Is the gear outside any of your houses? Have you put it on yet, Titletown or JT?
I haven't got mine yet. I saw some of our coworkers did, though. It'll be coming pretty soon. Very excited. Looks like cool stuff. A nice hat, nice shirt. Big T did a great job, but haven't got it yet.
Yeah, me either. I haven't looked at the mail today, though, but as soon as it comes, I'm going to be putting it on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be looking for it. I'm excited to get the swag on, get the hat going and, rep the company. I can't wait. So let's dive in. Let's go over to the next game. And we got the Chicago White Sox. We got the Kansas City Royals. We got Dallas Keuchel, and we got Chris Bubic. And we'll go right to you, JT, because you like the White Sox stack. So, sell us on it. I think they're a good stack, too. I know I like Bubic in cash games, but I'm taking the risk. And I do think there's a ton of leverage here and opportunity in tournaments with the White Sox. So give everyone the sales pitch.
Yeah, you've got a guy who, talented or not, he's coming from high A to the big leagues. And he's facing a team that, in what I see, you're right. There are definitely strikeouts there. They also have a 1.161 OPS against left-handed pitchers, and there is power up and down that lineup. So there's definitely some strikeout or home run guys. Eli Jimenez is a guy that I've liked a lot, but he's been I don't know if it's an injury thing, but he's been getting subbed out quite a bit. So he's one guy in that lineup that I would be a little bit. Although I love him, I just don't know how much of him I'm going to have. But I think after you get past Bubic, however long he's in there, you also have a bad bullpen. And so the White Sox are pretty cheap. What I see looks like they're going to be about 10% owned. And I think on a night where a lot of people are going to fit in the Rockies and the Padres, this is just a spot that I often like to pick on, where you get a guy that's making too big a jump, making his first start in the big leagues. And I'm going to take the chance there. And this is an offense that I think is in a better spot than the Indians were when they were taking on Singer in his first start. And like I said, if they let Bubic go, you're risking a chance at I think significant negative points. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't take a shot on him, and the fact that we have another 4K guy on the board.
All righty, Titletown, how about you? How do you want to handle this Royals White Sox game?
So I like the White Sox more on FanDuel because of pricing. 3.1 for Abreu seems a little too cheap. Grandal at 2.8, Anderson at 3.1. Makata's priced up a little more, so those are my three favorites. But on DraftKings, they just seem a little more expensive than I want to pay on the slate in the 4K range. So I won't have as much over there. They will come in lower owned because of that, though. And JT likes them, so I'm definitely going to get a little bit because how much he likes him. But I'm going to have more on FanDuel. One-offs in cash, I don't mind if I just land at 3.1K and Abreu's there. I'm not going to complain. So it's not a team I'm going out of my way to stack. On DraftKings, on FanDuel, I'll probably have a full stack with them because of pricing. I compare them with anyone I pretty much want. And for the Royals, I don't have as much interest in them. I like the White Sox a lot more in this game.
All righty, let's head on to the next one. We got the Cleveland Indians. We got the Minnesota Twins. We got a 9 total here. And you got Clevenger and you got Randy Dobnak. And, I don't know. This game seems lame, JT, but maybe I'm wrong. How about you?
Yeah, honestly, outside of Clevenger, it just doesn't do much for me. I don't know that I'm going to have any Indian stacks. I know people were saying last week, pick on Dobnak. He's been okay. He's not a guy that I look at and say, he's on the hill tonight, and I got to take advantage of that. I just think there are so many better spots that my expectation here is that we see, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5-6 runs, and it's just not going to be enough tonight. Like I said, Clevenger, I'll probably have some of. Dobnik's not in my pitcher pool tonight, but maybe 20-25% Clevenger.
All right. Anything from you, Titletown? This one you're just going to cross off and move on to the next one?
Yep, just move on. Don't need to waste time. I don't like it.
Yep, that's what I figured. I know you like this one, so I'll give you the floor. It's the Coors Field game, right? 11.5 total. You got the Rockies. You got the Padres. Break this one down for the people. What are you liking here?
Yeah, so for all you guys who don't know Coors Field, I mean, this is the spot we all want to target with elevation. The ball doesn't move as much, so it's easier for the hitters. The ball carries more, wide outfields, a lot of doubles, extra base hits. I mean, it's just the hitter's dream. So it's always a game that you have to think of or look. First thing I always do is I look, is there a game at Coors Field? Today there is. The Padres, Rockies. I like the Padres a little more in this game. John Gray is pretty good, but I do like this Padres lineup a lot. They've already won me a lot of money betting on them this year. Tatis is a stud up top. He's my favorite, but he's also the most expensive. I like Machado. On FanDuel, Grissom is too cheap at 3,300 batting second. Profar is too cheap at 3K batting fifth. So on FanDuel, they're pretty easy to get, and I think that's the team I'm going to be targeting in cash or getting as many as I can. On Draftkings, they are more expensive, but I do still like them as my top stack. They're in the 5K range, but I mean, you can't play Tatis at 6K, or you can. He's going to be very low owned, but makes your lineup really hard to construct instead of that. So I wouldn't mind second the Padres and leaving Tatis off on DraftKings just because of pricing. Will Myers, 4.6K, seems very expensive. But no one's going to play him. First base, Cronenworth, 3.3K. He's in the lineup. Yes, he's batting ninth, but 3.3K at Coors with runners on base, so they cycle through that lineup. That can get pretty tasty. I'm not going to have as much Rockies as I think against a against a righty and Richards. I usually target Arenado and Story against the lefties more so. They just mash them. They're priced very high. Just not my favorite. My favorite due to pricing, and I think I'm going to have a lot more Padres, and then I'm going to go someone like the Yankees more than the Rockies due to lower ownership, I think, and also I like the Yankees upside a little more than the Rockies today.
All right. JT, I'll kick it to you. And I'm going to ask you, like, in tournaments, how do you handle a Coors Field slate? Like, I might be showing up here and I'm like, man, it sounds like everyone's going to play Coors Field. So what do I do in tournaments? Do I just play a bunch of them? Do I eat the chalk, or do I go the other way?
Yeah, I think you decide on the matchup. And, people will play this every night, every slate. And there are definitely more runs scored here than any other park in the country, but there are also nights where, it's not a 12-10 game. Now, the Padres-Rockies games, because of just bad starting pitching, bad bullpens, especially in the back end of those rotations, historically at Coors have been, high-scoring affairs. Tonight, you mentioned tournaments. What I'm looking at is I'm seeing the Padres with about 20% ownership and the Rockies at about half that. So on DraftKings, like Zach mentioned, San Diego's prices are obscene on DraftKings, and Colorado is actually the cheaper team, even though they're returning home. This is their first game at home. I think it's maybe their home opener. I'm sure they're very excited after and I think a lot of this at least comes down to bias of they see how low scoring they were when they were in Texas, which is the opposite of Coors Field, that new park down there. So I have interest in the Rockies, particularly in the lefties. I mean, Blackman's very expensive. I think he's 5.7 on DraftKings, but I do like Dahl. I do like him, even Ryan McMahon. And if I'm going to full stack it, I'll probably end up with one of Arenado or Story. And then I have some interest in John Gray. John Gray's got tonight, I think, the third best K prop on the board after Clevenger and Castillo. I think it's either 5.5 or 6.5. He's pitched, to different degrees against the Padres in Coors. But the difference between him and Richards is, Gray's a guy who he pitches in this environment all the time. And Richards, this is, as far as I can see, his first start down there. So I'm going to side with Gray. I'm going to have maybe 15-20% Gray. I'm going to go lower on the Padres just because of their prices and the ownership. And I'm going to take some Rockies stacks and see how that goes.
All right. I did see a Rangers lineup, and I mean it's definitely different than I expected. I'm trying to pull it up now, real quick. Hang on one second, because I might want to discuss it with you guys, because I wasn't expecting this lineup. We got Chu, we got Solak as the number 2 guy. I don't know, JT, how much you know about him. Odor, Gallo, Frazier, who again, like top Frazier, a lot of strikeouts there with him sometimes. Calhoun, Andrus, Chirinos, and then Kiner Falefa. So, I mean, that's not a great lineup. You take, I guess Elvis Andrus is still in there. I'm trying to see if there's who are the ones that are missing. I don't know. What do you think of that lineup, JT? Did that change any interest for you? I guess it takes Santana out, who was a high K guy.
Calhoun is a guy I like playing last year, and 3.6 is pretty reasonable for him. He was up close to 5K last year, especially at home. Again, the Giants don't have a good bullpen. You don't know how long their starter is going to go. They're going to mix and match until they're out of arms. I'll have some Texas. They're not on my top 5, but you want to take a shot on Joey Gallo hitting a home run against one of these bad pitchers. Calhoun's, middle of the order. You get some runners on. You get a couple of extra base hits. That's fine. Chu hasn't looked in shape or that great this year. So I don't know how much Texas I'll have, but I'll have a little bit.
All right. Real quick, guys, I want to mention we're giving out at 89 likes. We'll give out a T-shirt. So we have 153 people. 89 is easy. JT set the bar low for you. So just get to 89. That's all you got to do. We're at 63 right now. We've only gotten 3 since the last time I said it. So come on, guys. We got to get this moving. We only got 13. Only got 13 minutes left. So jump in, hit the like, and if we get to 89, we'll give away a T-shirt. If not, you'll have to wait for Big T to swing them around and cheer for all the likes to get you guys to get them. But let's go to you, Titletown. Rangers, Giants. Any interest in this one?
Rangers, Giants, no. Don't have much interest there. I'm going to avoid pretty much for bats, and we can move on.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's go to the Cubs. Let's go to the Pirates. And the Cubs, they have a decent implied total, and they get Trevor Williams, and they have some good bats. JT, we'll go to you. In tournaments, are they a team that you could have any interest in?
Yeah, I feel like I should have more interest in the Cubs than I do. I just this game to me just seems, I don't know, it just doesn't seem as exciting as the other games. I don't certainly not particularly interested in the Pirates side. Although Frazier at the top, Darvish is a guy who struggles to hold runners on, gives up a lot of stolen bases. Frazier is a guy at 3.5 if you need it, but again, there's enough other one-offs that you probably wouldn't. But he's a guy who stands out to me on the Pirates side. This is a good Cubs team. They've hit Williams pretty well in the past. I just like the other spots more. That ballpark can play pretty small. Wind's blowing in 10 miles an hour tonight, 75, 76 degrees. It's just not making the top cut for me. If I have anything, I'll have some maybe 3-mans of the Cubs to go along with some of my primary stacks.
All right, how about you, Titletown? Wind's blowing in. What are you doing with Yu Darvish and Trevor Williams? Are you attacking them on this slate?
Yeah, so I like Yu Darvish a little bit, so I'm not going to have any Pirates. And for the Cubs, I do like them a little bit in tournaments. I like the lefties. Trevor Williams is not good against lefties at all. He's not even great against righties. Not a pitcher I'm worried about. So Rizzo, Schwarber, Hayward, I like them. I think the Cubs are going to be really low owned, as JT was saying. So I like playing the Cubs in tournaments when they're low owned. It's a very talented lineup. Wind's blowing in. There's other better spots and better hitters environment. So I think the Cubs are going to go very overlooked and a good sneaky tournament play, starting with the lefties. Rizzo would for sure be a staple with Schwarber. And then Baez is part of that stack too that I wouldn't want to leave out. He just hit 2 homers a couple nights ago, getting back in a rhythm. So I like a low-owned Cubby stack.
All right, let's go on to the next one. We got 10 minutes. We got 3 games. Let's go Astros, Angels. How do you want to approach this one, JT? Astros, they seem like a great stack. We have all this money to spend on, so you got to like the Astros, right?
Yeah, I like the Astros. They're going to face now here in playing the other Los Angeles team significantly inferior pitching than what they just saw. I like them quite a bit tonight. They're going to face Matt Andriese, who's a pitcher that I don't think too highly of. I don't think he's got a lot of chance to have success here. They are priced up. They're definitely priced higher than they have been. Although Bregman, I think his price came down a little bit. On the Angels side, not a lot of interest because I like McCullers a bit, but Goodwin on DraftKings at 2.7, hitting second. He's worth a couple of shots. Other than that, it's mostly Astros offense and McCullers for me.
All right, Titletown, how about you? Angels, Astros, what side are you on here?
Yeah, I do like some Astros bats too. They are expensive, but going back to the beginning about pitching, why we were mentioning like the Cobbs of the world and stuff at 4K is because the DraftKings did do a good job pricing up good spots on offense. And I'd rather target the high price hitters today, and Astros are right there with them. I love Bregman in the middle, Springer, Altuve. I mean, you can stack any part of this order as well. Even Reddick, Correa, Tucker. I don't even mind doing that. This lineup's just so good. So they are expensive. It's going to keep their ownership down, but I do like the Astros, and you should have the money if you're going Castillo and dumpster diving. So Astros are again one of the favorite stacks I like, and I do not like the Angels.
All righty, let's head on to the next one. We got the Oakland A's. We got the Seattle Mariners. And, the A's have a pretty good total, right, JT? I mean, they're above 5. It's a 9 total in general, and they have some big power bats. And Taijuan Walker, he's either hit or miss. He's either going to get some Ks or he's going to just give up a ton of hard hits, and it could go their way. So what are you thinking about an Oakland A's stack today?
Yeah, everything points to this being my second favorite team of the night in Oakland. I'm not I'm not a believer in Taijuan Walker's stuff. I don't know how much he's going to go in this game, and then behind him, you've got a bullpen that can easily be taken advantage of. I mean, this lineup's pretty good. You don't hear a lot about it, comparative to the Yankees and comparative to maybe Houston and the Dodgers. But this is a really good lineup. I mean, there's a projection tonight for Sean Murphy, who's batting 8th and catching. I had to check it 3 times. The whole team up and down. I like the top of that lineup, and I think they're going to put up some runs. This is at 4 or 5% ownership. This is a pretty good stack. I like Olsen. Olsen might be my favorite first baseman. So I like this A's stack quite a bit.
All right, Titletown, how about you? I know you had some interest in Sean Manaea, but how about the bats in this game?
Yeah, so I like Manaea a little bit, so I'm not going to be targeting Seattle. Won't be targeting that lineup a lot of the year. They're going to have nights where they blow up, and I won't be taking tournaments down, but I think it's going to be profitable fading Seattle pretty much every slate. And going to Oakland, I've been on Oakland a lot lately. I just really do like this lineup. And I like for tournaments, I like the late games because they always seem to be under-owned. So I like 1 through 5 again, what I think is going to be 1 through 5. I don't like stacking the bottom of the order as much for Oakland. I like the top a lot more. Olsen, Chapman, Canna, Laureano, Simeon. I like those guys. Those are my main guys. Again, I'm going to have a little bit. Their prices aren't too bad, a little expensive, but prices shouldn't matter for hitters because we are going to be dumpster diving on pitcher a little bit. So I'm definitely going to have some late night hammer Oakland A's at very little ownership, as JT was saying.
All righty, let's go to the last game. We got Dodgers, we got Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers, they're one of those teams, right? They're the Astros, they're the Yankees. They have a powerful offense. You can stack them any day. JT, how are you doing it on this slate?
Yeah, the Dodgers are almost so good it's annoying because they're in the conversation every night. They're not a team that you can cross off. Zach Gallen's a good enough pitcher that while I don't think there are many pitchers that can contain the Dodgers, I do think it's a spot where he can do well enough. Now, I'm not going to play Zach Gallen, but it's gonna put the Dodgers a little bit lower on my radar. Gonsolin is another one of these kind of talented prospects that doesn't get to pitch enough, and they have him there, and he'll throw 3-4 innings. If he's doing well, maybe he'll go 5, and then. What I saw watching the last 3 games of the Dodgers in Houston and then the first one in Arizona is this is a bullpen that I don't want to pick on. This is not a team that I'm going to be looking to take hitters against very often, and it's not that case tonight.
All right, how about you, Titletown? What are you doing with the Dodgers? And
Yeah, JT nailed it. Pretty much everything I had to say, I agree with them. Dodgers, you can stack them every single night. This lineup is just so good. They're not good. They're not one of my favorite stacks today, so I'm not going to have as much of them. But I would never really recommend fading the Dodgers. I do believe in Gallen a little bit. Yeah, no one's going to be able to control the Dodgers, as JT was saying. They're just so good, but I don't think they blow up for 10 runs in the first couple innings and get to the bullpen that early. So I'm going to have some Dodgers. The favorites are always the Bellinger, Betts, Muncies of the world. They're just so good, so elite. But you can stack the bottom of this order too. That's the thing about the Dodgers. You can stack them every which way. I do have them below the Padres, have them below the Yankees, so they're not going to be a priority. Right next to Colorado. I think Colorado's going to come in a lot more popular because it's Coors Field. So I like the Dodgers more than them because of ownership, but they're not my favorite stack of the night.
yeah, listen, I think that makes a ton of sense there, right? You look at these, these teams right here, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Dodgers, they're a great offense. You can obviously play them. And if they're going to get low ownership, they make a ton of sense in tournaments. Let's go on. Let's talk about our top 3 stacks. And before we do that, let's give a little look. Let's see what's going on. We're at 72 likes, guys. We got 3 minutes. We got to get to 89. Now, I'm not going to sit here and beg. You just got to get it to 89, guys. There's 157 of you watching. If we get there to 89 likes, we will give away some swag. So got to get there, guys. You need 17 more. You have some work to do. So let's go to top stacks. JT, kick it off first. Give me your 3 favorite stacks.
Yeah, I'll say first, I gave you guys an achievable goal of 89, and this is just very disappointing. And so I think now we're going to have to set it in the 150, 175. I'll be on the show tomorrow. We can't get to 89. I can guarantee you no one's getting a shirt tomorrow. So let's go. Top 3 stacks. I've said Chicago. Oakland is my number 2, and then the Yankees are my number 3.
All right, Titletown, how about you?
So I'm going to go Padres 1, Yankees 2, and then I like the Reds, so I'm going to say Reds 3 for sneaky and leverage.
All right, and I will give you mine. Mine, I'll say I'll go with Padres, of course. I'll go with I like the Reds a lot. I think they're a pretty good stack, and yeah, I mean, I'll just do the Yankees. Obviously, they're the Yankees, right? They can always go off, and in that rivalry, it makes a ton of sense. All right, let's head on over. Let's head on over and let's talk about our home run calls, right? Let's look at the home runs. Who do we think is going yard? I'll give it to you first, JT. I won't, jump in. This is my show. I'm going to be the nice guy. Last time I stuck in there, you know what I did? I took Judge. I made sure to take Nemo too, and I got 2 homers. So I'm going to be the nice guy and hand it over to you first. Give me your home run calls.
Yeah, that was pretty hurtful. It's a good thing I had some good backups with Ohtani to at least keep pace. But tonight I'm going to go David Dahl at the high end. Tim Anderson is going to lead off that Kansas City-Chicago game and give the young kid a welcome to the major leagues the right way with a blast. And Sean Murphy from the A's is going to pop one out tonight.
Sean Murphy from the A's.
He's my Grayson Griner.
That's what I was going to say. Is this your Grayson Griner? I'm looking down. I don't even know if this guy's in the lineup. So we'll have to see. Titletown, I'm so startled. So just take the home runs. I don't even know who JT was talking about. Give me your home runs.
I'm going to go more tournaments that are lower owned. I'm going to go with Acuna at top. Acuna. I just think he gets right and has a monster day. So Acuna there. I like Moustakas on the Reds. I think he's going to get a homer. And then for the last one, I'll go G-Man Choi. I think he takes 1 yard on Cobb.
All right, I'm going to take my time to do these home runs. And the reason why is we're at 75 likes, guys. Come on. You got to get to 89. I want to make Big T head to FedEx. I want to make him go out there and ship out some T-shirts. So, guys, you need 14 more likes. Make it happen now. Make the push here now because I'm going to take my time with these home runs. And I'll admit, if I mention a guy that you guys said is a home run call, just tell me you did it because I don't remember all your home run calls because, again, I was so startled by JT's random dude who hit a homer. What was his name again, JT?
Is this your top guy? Sean
No,
Murphy.
is that Sean Murphy? Yeah, no, that's not one. I will not be mentioning Sean Murphy as my home run call. I just want to look. Whenever the Oakland A's hit a home run, I want to be seeing if Sean Murphy hits a home run. I also want to see if he's in the lineup too. That's the other thing I'm wondering.
What should we do? What should we do if Sean Murphy hits a home run tonight? We got to do something nice.
All right, you think about that. Figure out that while I give our home run calls here, and the people get their likes up because they're at 81, and all they need is 89. So Fernando Tatis, did anyone mention him? Because he's one of my favorite bats on the slate. I know it's chalk, but I'm going to probably live and die with him. Fernando Tatis will be my guy to hit a home run in the top end range. One of my low end guys, and I know again he could be sort of kind of chalky, but I'm okay with it. It's Shogo. I'm going with Shogo. Love him in this spot. Think he is a guy that can hit a home run in this spot. Got a lot of power. Definitely going to go with him. And let me go with one more guy. Trying to figure out which spot to go to. Oh, here we'll go with one. And this is right up JT's alley. He'll like this one a ton. Listen, I don't think Chris Bubik is going to go out here and throw a complete game shutout. And he's gonna have his bumps and bruises he's gonna deal with. Give me Jose Abreu against the lefty to bang one out. I think that's a pretty good call. I'll go with Jose Abreu. Now, JT, we're at 83 likes. We need 84. We need 5 more. So, guys, we want to give out that T-shirt. 5 more. JT, give me your if your buddy, Mr. Creative Player, Sean Murphy, I believe his name was, if he hits a home run, what's going to happen?
I don't know, but it's disgusting. We're at 84, and I even gave you guys one. 85 now, and that includes one from me. I'm trying to help you every way I can. You guys.
I added one in earlier too. So
yeah. I mean, there's 140. What are the other 120 doing? I mean,
JT, let me stop you right there. The real problem is, why isn't the like there right away? Pump that thing in right away. You did it later. I mean, that's shame on you there. We should take your swag back, but we won't do that. It's too late at this point.
No, I did it at the beginning. But what were you asking me? Oh, what do we do? Yeah. If Sean Murphy hits a home run, I think we give a shirt to a home run's worth 14 points on Draftkings. So we give a shirt to the 14th like on tomorrow's show if Sean Murphy hits a home run.
Well, I don't know how to figure out who the 14th like is, JT. That's the problem.
Well, they'll have to tell us. It's an honor system here, right?
An honor system. Oh, man. Listen, try to let the chat give you an honor system. That's definitely tough. But, yeah, this is what we'll do. You'll have to come back to tomorrow's show to claim that shirt. That's what we'll do. So whoever's on that show, we'll find a way to make it. So you'll have
to show him in our lineup, and we'll do a drawing. Show him in your lineup. He hits a homer. You get a shirt. We'll do a drawing.
All right. Yep. And if you want to show it, just send it to the Run Pure Bets account. I'll figure it out and I'll sift through it and make it happen. But we're at 93 likes, so we're giving away a shirt. So Titletown, do the quick scroll. Go up and down, try and find a guy that in the chat should get some swag. And if you do get the swag, if Titletown says your name, I'm not hunting you down. You hunt me down. So hunt down either Run Pure Sports Twitter or my Twitter account, Travis Mangone. And then you know what we'll do? We will, we'll send a T-shirt to you. So just send your information, and then we'll do that. So Titletown, do the scroll. Who's your guy?
Yeah, I did the scroll with my eyes closed. I landed on JBD2226. He looked like he was very active in chat. So that's what I landed on. Congrats. Thanks for tuning in. Providing some winners. I saw Big T's in the chat too. He gave his dawn call of the day. I bet you guys can guess it. It's every day. Freddie Galvis. He hasn't let us down yet. He's made Big T some money, so he said both the Freddies, Freddie Freeman, Freddie Galvis. So those are your winners from Big T right there. And congrats to the guy that just won, JBD.
Yes. The one comment I'm going to make, Big T, I'm going to out you here because you love to out people. You clearly didn't watch all of the show. You clearly just showed up at the back end of the show because I already said free money, Freddie. I gave all of the Big T references for you. I did it all. You weren't in the chat saying, Mangone's on the same page with me. You didn't stroke me. So I'm saying you didn't watch the show, Big T. I'm disappointed in you. JT,
we talked about K-props. I talked about K-props.
You talked about K-props?
Yeah, we're doing everything for Big T today.
He's sweating the NBA giblets. There's a lot of NBA money to be made. That's what he's doing.
Big T said negative. He watched the whole thing, so I could maybe make a test up for Big T, but I'll give you a pass today, Tony. But we got to get on out of here, guys. thanks a lot for joining us. We got to make our lineups and update our core plays and everything else. Check that out at Run Pure Sports. For me, Travis Mangone, JT, and Titletown.